another video.
That is amazing. I've never seen that.
The coffee.
That's not in my deck on the show. It should be.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's unfortunate.
So I kind of like asking actors this question because it's really great to get a perspective. What surprised you the most when you first read the script of the series and actually seeing it on screen? Anything could be how something was filmed to how maybe one of the characters is portrayed. Anything at all that surprised you the most?
Do you want to start?
No.
Well, for this season, what surprised me the most was the way the writers crafted the story of how Linda and Charlie met and the adventure that they go on in their first moments together. I was really surprised by that, and we started filming that on day 0 of the season, which was a day that Jeffrey and I went out with a small, pretty bare-bones crew and had a pretty gorgeous adventure on a beach. And that was really a very special day. One of my biggest memories about it is there was a duo of dolphins in the waves in Zuma Beach. And that was a great way to start the second season.
Yeah, we moved the show from shooting in Vancouver, set in LA, to shooting in LA, set in LA. So it was great seeing not only the locations that we were on, but also seeing the first 2 episodes and seeing LA, seeing the 5, seeing the 405, that character in the actual landscape of our show. Because I think tonally our show needs that, and much to everyone's just gratefulness, Hulu and Sony were able to spend a lot of money to move us here, so to LA. So I was really glad and really amazed to see how the landscape does truly become a character in the show.
And I missed that in the first season, and I now can tell the difference when I see it.
So as you continue to explore these characters into another season, is there anything that you find you're surprised to learn about yourself as actors and performers?
Yeah, you have to adapt to the material, and they have really added dynamic layers to each of the characters and gone into backstories in ways that I didn't anticipate, and they were very collaborative about that. It was wonderful to sort of get to learn it, not only about my own character, but about his, and how those 2 paths cross at a very specific time in their lives, and adapting to how that stuff adds up to who we are now was really fun.
Also, it was a unique second season that we created or tried to create Shut-Eye from nothing. It was an original script, it was an original idea. It's not on television. The Gypsy World, the Romani, fortune telling, the art of grift. All of that is kind of not on the show. So we had to create this world, and we tried to create it with the original creator, Les Boham, and then we decided to go with a different direction with a new showrunner, and so starting season 2, episode 1, we started all over again. But the cast knew the characters better than the writing room. So it was really fascinating to kind of impart on them what we learned about season 1. And then as they kind of got into the trenches of creating the show and writing for it, they took it on. And then they owned it, and they started to make decisions about our characters that we didn't even see coming, which was really great. Really surprising and great in so many ways.
So with the new showrunner, does that open up opportunity for more creativity on your guys' part as far as input and working with new people on them?
Well, always second season of a show is sort of a defining moment, I think. I think the first season of any show is one thing, and then you go into the second season, it becomes something else. And with this opportunity to work with John, whom I've admired greatly, I thought in particular, a lot of people know his work on X-Files, but I was extraordinarily grateful because I was such a huge fan of his work on Breaking Bad, that we were able to have him come aboard and give us creative input based on what he responded to from the first season. And he's exceptionally good at his job. He's exceptionally collaborative and thoughtful and as loving towards the characters as we are, and invests as much as we do. And working with him as a director, as well as a showrunner, as well as a writer, was fantastic. And we had the fortune of doing it more than once this season, so that was great too. And that was a really there's something so cohesive about having a person that wears that many hats. And it's not for everyone. Not everyone has that skill set, but John does in spades. And he was really just game to be a part of this world.
That's really cool.
So our website is ageofthenerd.com, and I'm curious, is there something that either one of you nerd out about, like that we might be surprised to learn?
I don't think.
Are there no surprises in your nerd?
I don't think this is surprising because I think it's I'm such a Star Trek fan. I grew up watching the original Star Trek, and I watched them repeatedly. And then I didn't really get into the TV series, but I watched how Shatner and Nimoy took that franchise and made it into movies, and then what J.J. Abrams did with it later.
Yeah.
If they say they're going to put this at the movie theater, whichever one, I'll go back and I'll just rewatch
How do
it.
you feel about the new series?
Now again, I hear great things about it, but I haven't seen it because I didn't give Patrick Stewart a chance, but then it wasn't something that I hooked on to, but I love the feature life that Star Trek has gone on. So I nerd out about that.
I nerd out about the 80s because I was a kid, and so when Stranger Things came about, I was like, yes. Yes to everything they gave me as an audience, and yes to everything that's happened to that cast and the whole world. I mean, I even saw that, like, I think someone like Louis Vuitton or some huge designer just put on a runway a Stranger Things t-shirt over some elegant gown, and I was like, wow, that's when you know life is good. And everyone really enjoys what you're doing. And that's probably a $3,000 t-shirt that I'll never own. But it looks great.
One more question.
Well, how are you careful? I know that the Roma community is very insulated and very sort of concerned about how they're portrayed in media. How did you research your characters, and are you cognizant of trying to not give the Roma community a bad name?
Well, we're not Roma, so that's one out that we have. I mean, specifically
your character.
Yeah, that's different. But I think, people are portraying what's on the page. And I think one of the things that I've noticed so much about season 2 is that the world opens based on the characters more than it is focused on the culture specific, though you feel the culture intrinsic in the material. So it's I think there's mindfulness, obviously. If you're going to portray anything, you have to be mindful. And part of it, to me, is the opportunity to explore a world we don't know. And I think season 2 has explored that world in a richer way. And I think the one thing that would be a positive for that culture, regardless, is the dedication of family and the understanding of family. And whether they're Roma, whether they're, a Southern Baptist or some family in Boston that's very Irish Catholic, if family's a central unit, it's the central unit. And I think you'll find in season 2 that the excavation of the family in this story that is Roma is a lot more interesting than just zoning in on, say, protecting a culture or exploiting it. It's really exploiting the dynamics of family and really rich character. Thank you guys so much.